Okay, good morning everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar with myself, Daniel Clements, and Aga from Groundshaw. Just a quick introduction from me. I'm Daniel Clements and I'm the sales manager at eMapSite. So any questions you've got on the presentation today, please get in touch with me after the session, and I'll also make sure I send over the recording of today. Just a quick run through of the agenda for this morning. We're going to just walk through and ask Aga to talk through the detail of the insight reports, and at the end, just for the last 2 minutes, I'll talk through how to go about ordering those reports through eMapSite. And so any questions you've got throughout the presentation, please put them into the chat and I'll pick those up at the end, and either myself or Aga will answer those questions for you. But no further ado, I'm going to hand over to the knowledgeable one on the webinar, Aga from Groundshaw, who will talk you through the data and the reports.
Thanks, Dan. Good morning, everyone. It's Aga here. I am one of the account managers at Groundshaw Insight, and I am really excited to do the second webinar with Dan on the brand new updated Groundshaw Insight reports. I should be able to flip the screens now. Nope, go back. Dan, can you go? I can't see the control arrows. Could you go back one slide? Sorry. There you go. Thank you. Okay, off to a good start, right? So just a quick preview of what we're going to talk about today. With the new reports, we focus heavily on not only redesigning the feel of the report and how it is presented, but also adding loads and loads of brand new data in. The whole process of research and development took us over 2 years, and we conducted multiple face-to-face interviews. We had like test groups and like online meetings as well, just to collect as much feedback and suggestions from actual users as possible. And following that process of research, we decided to put in additional 70 brand new data sets into our reports and made some major changes to how the reports are designed and how you navigate within the design, within the reports. So we don't have 4 hours to talk about every single brand new data set added to the report. So we're going to focus on a couple of the most important ones. We're going to talk about no hidden extras, how the reports are put together. We're going to have a quick look into the industrial setting information, hydrological information, ground risk, flood data, and environmental setting. And then we're going to go through quickly the design of the report itself. Now, first part, after collecting quite a significant number of feedback, we realized that actually there are too many different options available on the market at the moment. There are different bundles, different kind of level of information available within reports. And what was clearly visible to us is that users want something simple, something quick, and all in one. So with our reports, the Groundshaw Insight, you get the 10K geology data, which is the highest detailed geological mapping available, and currently on the BGS viewer, as you are probably well aware, the only one available, the highest detail is 1 to 50K, and you have to pay for 10K additionally. With Groundshaw Insight, you get the 10K map within the report without any additional charge. The fully polygonized HLAD information. HLAD is the historical land use database. We added brand new OS master map site plan in PDF and also historical aerial images. With the OS master map, we include a PDF plan for every site under 10 hectares, and the OS master map, the idea behind it is that it gives you the clearest picture of your site and current layout and land use. So you can actually compare it side by side with the historical plans, historical aerial images, and understand better the changes on site and in close proximity. All of the PDF plans are under license, and you can see on this example on the left-hand side, there are license details on the right bottom corner, and this PDF plan can be used for further parts of this, further stages of the project. For example, a planning application. As long as the license information is included, you can actually take that page of the report and use it for this project for different stages. The maximum site size, as I mentioned, is 10 hectares, and it's a standard site. So if you have a linear site, which is fairly small but very, very long, the OS master map will not be applicable. So we will automatically remove it from the report, and it's going to state on the first page that the OS master map is not available for your site. Now, we have aerial imagery. So if you work with Grant Report previously, you know that we always added the most recent historical aerial image available for the site. What is new is now we are adding historical aerial images dating back to 1999 as well. And the idea behind it is that we are bridging the gap between historical maps and the current OS master map, most recent historical aerial imagery. We will include maximum of 5 images. That includes the most recent one. And the recent aerial image will be within at least 3 years, but there will be occasion when it's slightly older, and that's because there is nothing more up-to-date available. When there are multiple aerial images available for your site, we'll provide you an even split of data just to give you a decent range and better understanding of the site situation. Now for the industrial setting, the one feature that I really wanted to highlight today is our brand new grouped historical land use data. So rather than repeating obviously continuous features across the years as individual records in tables and our mapping, we have introduced an intelligent dissolve function with the new report, and that function groups related features and display instead as one unified feature with a date range. So if there is an occasion where you as a user would like to kind of cross-reference the intelligent grouping and understand the logic behind it, we always provide you with ungrouped version of it as well. We always provide you with exact land uses specified within the report rather than just listing of categories. And just to give you a better understanding of the grouped HLAD, how it works, is on this example on the right-hand side on the image. On the left is the old standard historical land use information. We can see there is a tank identified in a very close proximity of multiple years. So we have 1940, 1950, 1970. And then after implementing the intelligent dissolve function, it is presented as one ID on grouped polygon with year date range 1940 to 1970. The idea behind the dissolve function is that it reduces the number of records presented within the report, saving you a significant amount of time, especially on very, very busy, commercially busy sites. And continuing with industrial setting, we added multiple data set, as I mentioned before. However, 2 very important and highly requested ones were 1, pollution inventory. So the pollution inventory data is provided by the EA, and it details releases and transfer of substances from industrial activities EA regulates. That will include the annual emission of certain substances to air, controlled waters and land, and off-site transfer in wastewater and waste. With this information, you can plan your site investigation more effectively for two reasons. One, you have much better understanding of what sort of substances you can expect to be present on site. And two, some substances listed within the pollution inventory data may not be part of your standard lab test and otherwise could have been missed. As for the waste exemptions, there are 4 types of exemptions depending on activity. That's using waste, disposing of waste, treating waste, and storing waste. Waste exemptions are an effective measures that ensure that the waste operation 1 complies with 2016 permitting regulations, and 2 does not harm the environment and human health. Before this information was added into our standard reports, you would have to go out and search the public register on Environment Agency website in order to get this information for your site assessment. And now for hydrological and hydrogeological setting. The currently available data quality data, I just said data twice, sorry, is out of date and is not fit for purpose. So the information we provided within the old Enviro Insight report was 8 years old and haven't been updated for a significant amount of time. We knew that we really need to address this problem because our clients could not solely rely on the information within the reports. They would have to go out and actually search for water quality information on their own on the Water Framework Directive website. With the new reports, we spent quite a lot of time and effort to make sure that the Water Framework Directive is part of our new reports. Within the PDF reports, you will find a quick, short summary of the catchment data information, and then a hyperlink that will take you directly to the Water Framework Directive records, where you can find all of the information regarding any of the water bodies located on site or in a close proximity. So in essence, if your current data provider doesn't include the Water Framework Directive, you are either relying on out-of-date information that is not really fit for purpose, or you have to waste quite a significant amount of time to search for up-to-date information on your own. With Grant Your Insight, this part of the data is actually now included without any additional charge within every single Enviro Insight report. And now for flood risk. Just so you know, guys, I can see chat windows popping up. We have some questions, and like Dan mentioned, we're going to go through them at the end of the presentation. If I didn't address it already, we will definitely go through the questions at the end. So for flood risk, we recently teamed up with Ambiento for all of the flood data included within our reports. Previously, the detailed flood risk information was provided as a standalone flood insight report. This report is no longer available, and we included all of the information from the flood insight report into our Enviro, which means that when you purchase the bundle, you actually get all of the flood risk information we have available included within the report without any additional charge. And why are we using Ambiento? There are a couple of reasons. 4 main ones is that 1, they model 25% more rivers than any other UK flood model. They regularly validate and calibrate using actual flood events in the UK. They integrated flow rate and rainfall data into their model, and also 82% of the properties are modeled using LiDAR information, which is the most relying technology at the moment for flood risk modeling. And the image you can see on the right-hand side is actually a screenshot of the report completed on Carlisle Football Club. The area in question, so our site, is outlined in red. And then you can see there is quite a significant flood risk all around the property or the site, and also right in the middle. And if you look on the left-hand side, it's an actual flood event on the same site, so it's Carlisle's football club. This particular flooding event was following the Storm Desmond in 2015. And as you see on this particular image, although this property, this site is protected by flood defences, is within flood zone 2. It was still flooded back in 2015. And on the bottom right hand corner, you can see a rather large hydrocarbon plume, which was most likely caused by a leak in a fuel tank or a similar possibly tank located on site. And an image on the right hand side is a Oxford city centre. And it shows the number of historical landfills located in very close proximity to various watercourses within the city. And those two images demonstrate the importance of understanding where your contaminants could come from, and also how they could migrate to other sites as a result of floodwaters. That's why we include this information within our Enviro report, because flood waters could potentially transfer contaminants as well. And it's very important for consultants to understand how those contaminants could travel around. And now quickly about ground risk. So there are multiple data sets that will give you a better understanding of your ground conditions on the site. However, three very important ones that we would like to highlight are the Royal Mail tunnels. This particular data set provides you the location and depth of the Royal Mail tunnels beneath London. Those tunnels were used for underground transit of mail between 1927 and 2003. This particular data set, before it was added into Enviro, the Geo Insight report, was available only from the Royal Mail library, and it was quite expensive to actually get your hands on. So now we made some effort. We went out, digitalized all of their plans, and we include this information whenever applicable. We add that into the report without any additional charge. The London ground information will provide you with a location and estimated depth, volumes for London Underground, location of standard railway tunnels, and information on underground or partially underground railway projects such as Crossrail 1, Crossrail 2 and HS2. And also for the non-natural ground subsidence risk, we have multiple data sets regarding mining and ground workings. Some of the data sets are derived exclusively from our historical map collection. And just to highlight, the London Underground information, I think, can be sometimes ignored by project managers and consultants, but as we know, it is very important to actually understand what's going on underneath your site. And the image in the middle actually shows what happens if you don't have that information. This was back in 2014, where drillers went through the roof of the tunnel, and the actual drills fell onto live tracks in 2014. So luckily no one got injured, but as you can possibly imagine, this could have ended up really, really badly for many people. And then continuing on ground risk, we also added a brand new data set, the mineral planning areas. And between 2001 2003, the BGS received around 1,400 paper maps and associated car index from the Office of Deputy Prime Minister. The maps were originally compiled by the Mineral Division and the Ministry of Housing and Local Government, and they contained hand-drawn boundaries for permitted, withdrawal and refused mineral planning permissions and work ground. They also contain hand-drawn boundaries for land use at each site, and these maps show information collated from the 1940s to mid-1980s. The BGS then digitized those records, which now form the historical mineral planning dataset we use within our report. This particular data set holds information relating to 1, planning permissions granted for mineral extraction and associated facilities, and 2, historical land use associated with permitted, withdrawn and refused mineral planning permission sites. This particular data really nicely complements all the unique data sets on ground extraction activities that are now included within our reports, and altogether they give you a much better picture and much better understanding on ground conditions and risk associated on your site and in nearby areas. And just very quickly, this is the last part on data. This is about the environmental setting part. So there are multiple data sets included as part of this environmental setting department. However, the one I would like to really highlight is the SSI impact risk zones. The impact risk zone is essentially a buffer that is located all around the SSI, and it could potentially limit your activities on site in regards of sampling and drilling, and also could potentially impact the development by putting on restrictions. We have additional visual and cultural designation and enhanced environmental designations included within the report as well. I think the one data set that really was praised by our consultants is the conservation areas, World Heritage Site and listed buildings. I know for a fact from conversations with one of the consultants that every time he needed information on listed buildings, he would have to go and skim local authorities for information. Now that this part of data is included within the report, he's actually saving a significant amount of time because he doesn't have to worry about searching for that particular data set on his own. And now very quickly about the changes to the design of the report. So we introduced a brand new summary section that combines the previous content page and the summary. All report content is summarized in one place, and it gives you a breakdown of the overall search distances as well. So on the example on the left-hand side, you can clearly see each subsection listed, and then also you have detailed search buffer on the right-hand side. So for example, the Section 1.1, historical industrial land uses, we search them up to 500 meters, but Section 4.1, recent industrial land use, this particular data set is searched up to 250 meters. As you can clearly see, some of the records are grayed out on this example. That means that we search on site and we search within the specified search buffer, and we found no records at all. We are not saying that the grayed out sections are not important. We are saying that we search the data set and we search in the buffer and on site, and there is no records available at all. And the bolded, highlighted, hyperlinked section of the reports, it means that we came back with the results, and you can actually, clicking on the subsection, you can migrate yourself and transfer yourself to detailed table within the report. And the summary section is the hub for the in-report navigation. Every section title will take you to the relevant map, and the data set that is hyperlinked will take you to the data section with the table. Now for the data section, We introduced our brand new mapping with improved styling and modern background to give you a better clarity, especially on very, very busy sites. We introduced, wherever possible, dynamic intelligent legends. Dynamic legends mean that they only show data present on the map, and it allows you to much quicker interpret the situation on site. Essentially what it means that you don't have to skim through 30 potential different marks on the legend. We will only list whatever is identified on site and within the search buffer. And to aid navigation within the report, you will find a home button on every single page within the report that will take you back to the summary section. Like I mentioned, the summary section is the hub of the navigation, and you can transfer yourself to anywhere within the report from the summary. And then for data subsections, there are two very big changes that I would like to highlight. So every data subsection will have a detailed information where the data is coming from, and also a hyperlink to relevant map within the report. And also any record that is identified on site versus those within the search buffer, they will be bolded and highlighted. Again, we are not making a judgment whether one or the other is more important. What we are saying is that some of the records are identified on site, and you can clearly, just by quickly looking at the report, you can clearly see which ones and how many versus those identified off site. And looking at the feedback from our clients, majority agreed and strongly agreed that this would be a massive improvement versus the old reports. And now, if you participated in our last week report, you will know that this particular video didn't work, but we did some work with Dan, and we tested it, and it should work properly. So this particular video will give you a quick example of how the in-report navigation works with the summary section and hyperlinks. So if I play it, this is the first page. We click on summary section, data section for the map. And then once you analyze the map, you can go back to the home button summary and click on any of the subsections, which will take you to detailed data table. If you want to cross-reference with the map, you just click on the hyperlink and it takes you to the relevant map within the report. And also the report to external site navigation. So I mentioned earlier today the Water Framework Directive. So this video will show you quickly how to get to the external website. So once you find the relevant subsection within the report, you have very general details within the report, and then hyperlink. Once you click on the hyperlink, it takes you directly to the Catchment Data Explorer. And this is where you can find all of the information available for the water body that we potentially could not include within the report because of the size of it. And the last one example is the external report to external site navigation, but with BGS, borehole records. So I'm just going to play that. So again, summary of findings. We need to find the relevant subsection. So the BGS records will be in the their own categories: boreholes, map, table, and then you can see any available information will be hyperlinked and highlighted. Once you click on it, it will take you directly to this particular borehole record on the BGS viewer. And then back to the report and back to the summary section. Perfect. And let's just, Dan, would you be able to click back? I can't see the arrows today for some reason. There you go, thank you. And just quickly about our historical maps, obviously we talk a lot about the Enviro and Geo Insight, and that's because we launched the new reports in February of this year. And obviously the first 6 months, let's just say they were nothing as what we expected in regards of anything really at this point. But it's worth noting that when you purchase the Grancho Insight bundle, as well as the new Enviro and Geo reports, you get our historical mapping as well. And our historical maps are the highest resolution available on the market at the moment. They are scanned at 500 dots per inch resolution. Our maps date back to 1840s. They are available in color and grayscale, and we also include historical town plans as part of the pack. And on this example here, you can see a color map on the right hand side, scan in 500 dpi, so this is actual Grancho report, and the other one is lower quality in grayscale. So you can clearly see that certain historical land uses easily identifiable on the right hand side, they can be quite difficult to kind of identify on the left example. And just quickly on delivery. There you go. If you worked with Grancho before, you are probably well aware that we do PDF reports, but we also can deliver both historical maps and EnviroGeo data as GIS. The data tables and maps are side by side in the same document in PDF reports that allows you to, for a seamless transition from the map to relevant data section. And if you purchase the Grancho Insight bundle, the Enviro and Geo reports, rather than 2 separate PDFs, they will be combined into one. So you don't have to flip between different PDF documents and try to find the relevant data. The GIS data follows the same section format of the PDF reports, and we applied universal styles across PDF reports and GIS for easier switching in between. And the files in GIS are provided as geodatabase that is compatible with ArcGIS software, but it also works with QGIS. And we did a couple of webinars on GIS data with our in-house GIS team. So if you are interested, there are a couple more upcoming webinars as well on that. So if you want any tips about GIS, do join us. It will be great to have you there. And just looking at the overall changes to the reports from the customer feedback, we can estimate that the new layout, the combined PDFs, the new data sets added, and the changed design of the report saves approximately 10 to 20% on the review time versus the old reports. And this is an actual feedback from a client. Grant has been working with us for a couple of years now, and he actively participated in our research and development stage of the reports, and we are really happy to have him on board. And also he provided us with some really fantastic feedback in a very essential parts of the development. And then just a quick word about the RRPs and savings. Every single report from Grancho, the EnviroGeo and Map Insight can be purchased as a standalone PDF. However, once purchased as Grancho Insight, not only you save money, a significant amount, if I can ask, but also you get the EnviroGeo combined into one PDF report. So as I mentioned right at the beginning, across the EnviroGeo reports, we added over 70 brand new unique data sets, and 95% of those data sets are not available from other providers, and these are specific data sets that were requested by our users. And just a quick word about the Insight User Guide. It's a live PDF document that is available on our website, and also every single report that you order with Grancho will have a hyperlink included to the Grancho Insight, what you find within the document is in-depth data description. Every single data is described, and also with highlighted data source and data update frequency. So if you want to know where a particular data came from and how often we updated it, it's all within the user guide. It's a live document, so we add things and change things on a regular basis. You can download it and save it on your laptop. However, do note that if you do that, after a while, it is possible that the version you have available and saved is actually slightly different from the live document that is available on the website. And I think that's it for me. Dan, if you want to go through the questions. Or let me just see if I can.
Okay, welcome back. I've got control again. Many thanks for Aga going through the Gramshaw presentation. I just wanted to spend 2 minutes to go through how to obtain a report and how to order those things. So I'm going to just go about leaving. Okay. Bear with me.
Oh.
I'm having a technical problem leaving the slides, which is great for me. So I'm struggling, so I'm going to skip that for a second. Going into the questions for a second, just so we make sure we've covered those off. I don't know if you can see these, Aga, so I'll just take a look. I've got one here. Do you provide plans showing high pressure gas, water and other utility countrywide?
Not to my knowledge, not at the moment. And the reason for it is that getting the utilities plans overall, it's a very expensive task and it's very time consuming. So utility reports as standalones, they can take up to 20 days. So if we would add that information into the standard Enviro Geo packs, this would extend the delivery time significantly and would raise the cost as well. So the utility reports are available as standalone products, but to my knowledge, there are no plans at all to include that information as part of the standard reports.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. I will just now go through my piece as I've managed to end the slideshow. So this is just the homepage to EMAP site, just 2 minutes from me. You can go onto EMAP site and I'll show you how to order and where to obtain a sample record. So within our homepage, you can go to mapping and data and you can see the suite of services that we offer. So I'm not going to go through all of those, but if there is other products you want me to cover off, you can contact me directly. But within the Groundshaw Insight section that we have, you've got each of the different products that we have with Groundshaw. We've mentioned the Insight report, particularly today, and then we've also got the GIS output that's also available. If you wanted to come into EMAP site and see a sample record, they're obtainable through here, and you can see that there's a PDF sample here. So clicking on that, you'll see a sample before you go ahead and make any purchases. And then just finally, in terms of going into EMAP site, you can go into the report section, which is this section, to just speed it up. The same look and feel as the map shop. Put in your location, which I'm going to just very, very quickly do for you. I'm going to do this, just do this very quick. So here's a box around an area, and then you've got the suite of different options we have. So we've kept the map shop and the report section separate, because within the reports, you get a buffer zone around the site of interest. So naturally, if this is your site, you're going to want to know what's impacting that site further afield, hence why we've split them out. If you change the size, you'll get a different price accordingly on the screen, and then you can go through the ordering process like you would do with any other orders that you make with EMAP site. In addition to the Insight reports, there's also utility reports in this section, which sometimes works together with the types of clients that we've got on the call today. So that's me covered. I'm going to just check if there's any more additional questions. There is one other question. I sometimes find the volume of data provided is quite daunting, obviously lots of information included. It usually adds an appendix which often occupies more than 75% of the report volume, but has anybody had the time to read it? Obviously, yeah, well, I'm going to just read out that there's obviously lots of data included, and the look and feel of the report is much more easier to navigate. Aga, have you got any comments around the appendix?
Yes, so well, the volume of data can be quite daunting. However, we don't only work with environmental consultants, so sometimes our reports are used for different kind of assessments on site using different data sets. So I know for a fact that there are clients of mine who will pick and choose which data sets are relevant for their kind of work versus which one they can ignore. But I agree, there is a lot of information added to the report, and obviously the old data sets that we kept in the reports there's a lot of stuff in there. But we didn't want to add anything unnecessary. So anything that we added in was either following a multiple requests or also a opinion from specialists involved in the development stage.
Okay, thank you, Aga. There's just one more. I'm just going to get to it again. Is there a risk that if you give all the information, it stops younger engineers from going methodically through a data search? This can often lead to gain very relevant data that are not in the full report. What are the data sets are out of date and not fit for purpose?
Okay, so I think with young engineers part, it is all depending on the company policy and training. We wanted to provide our consultants with a report that provides as much relevant information as possible, so they don't actually have to waste their time and search for obvious data sets anymore, because now we provide it within the PDF. However, I think it's the matter of internal procedures for each company, whether they still want the the engineers and consultants to go out and search for additional information. Even with the PDFs as they are, which huge amount of information, I know for a fact that some companies, they choose to only use parts of the report as they don't focus on other data that is not relevant for their projects. As for the data sets that is out of date and not fit for purpose, a majority of SEPA data at the moment that is available on the market is not actually fit for purpose, because SEPA doesn't allow to use their current information for commercial purposes. So unless you go out to SEPA yourself and request specific data sets on your own, what you get with from purchased data bundles is not the most up-to-date information. And one of the reasons why we team up with Ambiental, they are able to provide us with most up-to-date flood models for Scotland, because we can't get that information from SEPA at the moment. We are in talks, and we are working on getting that information from SEPA and have it updated on regular basis. However, at the moment, there is not a single company that can provide you information on commercial purposes. If that makes sense. I don't know, Phil. I don't know if that answered your question.
Well, I hope it does, and I'll pick it up with the client in question after this as well. So I'm going to say thank you to Aga, and thank you for everybody attending the webinar. If you give us me a few hours, we'll get this recording saved and send out a copy of the recording so you can share with your colleagues internally. If you've got any questions, please come back to me, and I'll liaise with Aga directly or pick that up within customer support. Have a great rest of the day and stay safe. And
Dan, can I Yep, Dan, can I just ask, if anyone would like a full list of data sets, like I mentioned, there's a lot of them, and obviously we didn't have time to go through all of them. I am happy to provide that through customer service on the website, so just request that over. We're happy to send you a table with literally every single data set listed with the new ones highlighted as well.
Brilliant. Many thanks, Aga. Well, thank you very much, everybody. I will speak to you all soon. Have a safe day, and bye for now.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.